Hi, everybody. It's episode 515 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Druten
Hello.
and Walnut.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
I'm doing.
How'd you guys
I'm
enjoy all of the heat over the weekend?
It was miserable.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was nice and cool in my house.
Was it really?
For the most part. I'm downstairs.
That's
upstairs,
fair.
the upstairs I didn't really go anywhere. But I did end up going out this weekend for like a few minutes. I had a viewing to go to, and if it wasn't a million degrees out, I probably would have stayed for the funeral, but it was too hot to be in a cast on a cart. It just would have been too much.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% valid. Are you, driving yet, or are you still not really able to?
My parents were driving me.
I wasn't sure if you were more mobile now that you had the cast on, or if you were still a little stuck.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm stuck another 2 weeks before I get the cast off and get a boot, and then we'll see how long recovery is after the boot or with the boot, because there's going to be PT, and we're going to see how that goes. And yeah, I will be hopefully fully recovered by PAX. That's the long term. That's the short term goal. Is full recovery should be by December.
But I think you said before that by late July you should be at least a little more mobile.
Well, yeah, July 9th in 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks from today, I get the cast off. So I should be able to drive and stuff.
Okay,
as soon as
good.
I get the cast off.
And then the week later with the boot on, you'll just start doing some nice 5Ks, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to make sure everything's healed, right? Is you just go out there and you just run the fastest 5K you possibly can.
Yeah. No.
Just break in all those new bones.
I mean, that was one of the things I had asked the doctor. I was like, so one of my main pushes for doing the surgery is I want to be able to start running again and jogging. And I was like, how long, or is this a no-no, or what is it? And he's like, 6 months after surgery, maybe. We'll see. It's really dependent on how surgery goes. I'm like, okay. So,
which is, that's a valid response to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another day. It's another Tuesday, not a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't got much else. Though, I will say this. Driving back and forth from Washington, D.C. is maybe one of the worst things a person can do.
Oof, yeah.
Fuck that entire city. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know who laid out the roads there, but I said this before to somebody else today. They were drunker than the people who made Boston.
Oh yeah.
Their shit makes zero sense. At one point, so we went down there yesterday for the protests that happened at the Supreme Court building. Mm-hmm. Trying to leave, my GPS is stay in the left 2 lanes and kind of go left and then right. The left 2 lanes didn't go left and right. It basically looped backwards. So I ended up getting looped in front of Union Station, the big Amtrak station, where there were all the people that do the drop off pickup. So there's not really a way to just drive through that. You just kind of drive there and sit there as people slowly inch up as other cars load and unload people.
Mm-hmm.
It took us what should have probably only taken maybe 10 minutes to get out of that part of DC. Took almost 40.
Oof. My dad he left for a bike trip. He was supposed to leave yesterday, but they ended up having to push back and not leave till today around 1 or 2, and they're going down past DC. And by the time they get to DC, it's going to be around rush hour. Luckily, they're not taking the bikes down. I think they already had the bikes taken down, and they're just driving their trucks.
I don't know. Yeah. I feel I'd rather be on a bike in that situation because at least it's not illegal for bikes to split lanes.
It's variable depending on state.
I thought around here. Oh, you know what? I guess once you get down there, I honestly don't know.
It's very dependent on state. Yeah, I think in New Jersey it's technically illegal to cut lanes like that. I'm not sure though.
Jersey and PA, it's legal. Delaware, I'm not sure. There were a lot of people doing it in Maryland. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is legal.
Yeah.
But I know, depending on the type of bike, a lot of them are air-cooled. They can't sit in traffic. They actually have to keep moving. Otherwise, they will stall out. So, I don't know. But, yeah, that's going to... Where are they actually driving to? Are they going around D.C.?
They're going through D.C. They're going down to Virginia somewhere.
Well, hopefully, whatever route
it's... There's a the tail of the dragon, the claw of the dragon. There's like a whole mountainous trail that you can go called it's basically dubbed the dragon that they're going to.
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, like, hopefully it's one of those routes where they can kind of skirt around DC proper and like not have to like literally go through it, because I've done the drive to like Virginia Beach and stuff like that for work before. That's not that bad because you don't have to drive through DC. You can kind of keep like a pretty good distance away and only hit some of the traffic.
Mm-hmm. So, according to Amaro law firm Injury Lawyers, states that don't prohibit splitting lanes: New Jersey, Missouri, Mississippi, Idaho, Arkansas, North Carolina, Ohio, Delaware, Kentucky, Texas, and West Virginia.
Really? Not Pennsylvania?
Nope. The rest of the country, basically, it's illegal. However, Oregon, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Texas, Washington State, Virginia, Maryland, and Missouri are considering legalization. I don't know when this website was put up. December 2022. So it's fairly recent.
Well, the cops do not give a shit if you do it in Pennsylvania.
I mean, are you sure, or has the cop never seen it happen? Never seen a cop?
There are enough times on 76 where cops are literally just parked in those little like cutouts in the lanes that like I see bikers not like speeding, but just like cutting right between cars that are driving like relatively slowly, and the cops don't even like.
Your cop's not going to catch a biker doing that on that road.
Well, I'm not talking about during traffic. I mean, just like during normal driving, which is also rare. Even
normal driving, though, I really doubt a cop is going to be able to catch up to a biker doing that on a normal road, or on at a normal time on that road on the Schuylkill. Like, there's no way a cop's going to be able to catch a biker doing some lane splitting.
I don't know, man. It depends on how fast they're going, though, too. Like, if they're going so fast, then yes. But I only see the people on like the shitty crotch rockets really going fast. Like most of the people on like actual motorcycles, like they're doing it, but like they're at least doing it like, let's call it responsibly.
I mean,
like,
well, if you
don't want to get in an accident, because they know people do just kind of like suddenly merge over on that road.
Harleys are generally a little bit bigger and harder to actually do those maneuvers. To where like you have to take it a little bit safer. And plus, people who drive crotch rockets they don't have any regard for their own lives.
Yeah, I mean, like even yesterday, I saw like one guy I thought was going to end up in the back of like a semi because of the way he was riding, like just a complete douchebag. He came off the same ramp as me to get onto whatever highway it was at the time, and just before like I have my turn signal on, I'm trying to merge over into the next lane off the thing, and he just not even where the lane starts, it's still like the triangle where you're not supposed to drive through it, just zips into that and past me as I'm starting to move over. And then just zips down, almost hits like a semi in front of like not in front of me, but like a little ways down the road, and just like cuts at the last minute into the shoulder and just goes speeding down the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, see, you're the type of guy that actually deserves to like get in an accident, because you're going to end up causing somebody else to get into an accident riding that way. People suck is the moral of the story. But Rich, what's on the agenda?
Excuse me.
No, I will not.
So we all watched Labyrinth, and then Cobb, you caught up on a couple of anime.
No, that is one manga.
Oh, Boruto, the two blue vortexes. Okay, you caught up on Boruto. I watched Wolverine, and I also watched Hazbin Hotel. And I'm sure if there's anything else, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, who knows? The world is our oyster.
It's been a wild week for gamer news. Like, I know, Cobb, you don't really care, and Drew, you don't really like. There's this whole shit about Dr. Disrespect that is a big name in like the streaming gaming industry.
I honestly thought he already got canceled because the dude's a fucking douchebag.
I've never watched any. Drew, I know your brother watched some of his stuff back in the day, forever ago, but like I've never watched any of his stuff, so I don't really care. But that's like huge. It's going around right now. And then there was that article that I shared on. I think I sent it to us on the Facebook chat, but also on my Discord, where it was the guy who's getting in trouble being a game developer because on the resume you have to say that you're okay with going into nude sauna sessions with him.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's like a no-name studio. I didn't recognize
Oh,
the
yeah.
name.
Yeah, no, it's a small no-name studio, and he's like, "Look, I want my developers to have a real life experience, so we have to experience it together." And he just wants to see naked girls. Is all it is.
Or guys, don't.
No, it's only women. It's
Oh,
literally
really?
only. I think it because I let me look at the website real quick. Because it's dumb how he words it. Uh, my narrative girls had to go to a sauna with me to come up with amazing script for proof of concept. Technically, it's possible to do it without it, but I absolutely adore the fact that they could use their sauna experience to write awesome scenes. Narrative girls, so the girls that are writing the game, the story of the game.
What a scumbag.
Yeah, yeah, that guy. So yeah, gaming's been weird lately, or video game industry's been weird lately, guys. Been weird.
It's always weird. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
weird and bad at the moment too.
Yeah, true.
But what did you guys think of Labyrinth?
I mean, it's pretty good.
I liked it. I this isn't the first time I've seen it.
Same.
And I'm not someone who watched it as a kid, so I'm not. I
Also
don't
same.
have any. I don't have any nostalgia glasses for it or anything like that. This is probably like this is the second time I've seen it, and it's been like maybe 10 years, but still relatively recent. And I think it's a good movie. It's a silly movie. It's campy. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's just these kinds of movies, especially Henson Productions and things like that, are just going to be weird and ridiculous, and make no sense sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't say I loved it, but I had a good enough time with it. I think like the David Bowie parts were definitely the standout parts.
Mhm.
I generally like Jennifer Connelly, but she was not good in this movie. But she was also like legitimately 16, so 16 in the 80s, like can't really expect a whole lot from somebody.
Yeah.
But the David Bowie stuff and all like the puppets and practical effects were really good, especially for being a 38, 39-year-old movie.
Yeah. The one effect I thought that looked amazing was the door that had the knocker in its mouth. That effect was so shockingly good because it wasn't puppeteering at points. It was like computer generated, and it looked
Was it
really
really?
good. It had to have been.
But they didn't really have computer generation back then.
No, but it was like animated somehow, not computer generated, but it was like animated. It had to have been.
So I kind of thought some
Because-
of that was actually like somebody actually just had like prosthetics and face makeup and stuff on.
But the mouth one, the one that had it in its mouth, that she took it out and then it refused.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
moving in and out, and it was stretching, and it was like coming in. There's no way that was just.
No, that's why
There's
thought-
no way that was puppeteering. There's
no, that's
no
why
way
I
that
thought it was like
puppeteering.
an actual person, like all like makeuped up.
Yeah, but the length that mouth stretched out to and came in from, like, there's no way that was even a person in a like it had to have been some animation work.
I don't know, man. Like I just don't think they had the technology for it to look that good. Like they could have rotoscoped it, but rotoscoping, especially in the 80s, didn't look very good. I mean, even look like Who Framed Roger Rabbit was what, like 4 years later, and like you can very much tell when like that Bob Hoskins is standing on just like a green screen the whole movie,
Mhm.
and like that was like tactile. Like it looked like it didn't look real, but like it didn't look like it was animated or anything like that, to me at least. That's why I assumed it was a real, like, that they had somebody in there with just like crazy prosthetics on, so that like the mouth stretching wasn't the actual person's mouth stretching, but was like some of the prosthetics like made out of rubber or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't like really look it up to see if it was, but like it looked like it really looked like it was something done in post.
I mean, maybe it was. That just seems like a level of technology that they just didn't have back then.
I mean, they had the like the owl was done. That was animation.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is according to Wiki. Most of the visual effects on Labyrinth were achieved in camera, with several notable exceptions. Most prominent post-production effects was computer-generated owl that appears at the opening of the film.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Look, when was this? Is what
86.
86. Yeah, there was computer CG technology before 86. What's the oldest CG in a movie? I remember Quarter Crew talking about it.
Well, like you had like there was
Um,
definitely stuff in like some of the Star Wars movies. But like there's a difference between like it looking good and it looking as realistic as I feel like that scene did.
mhm. No, I'm not finding the thing that I was looking for with what I looked up. But there was this movie where like a stained glass comes to life, and that's the first use of some sort of animation of like computer graphics.
Oh, that's interesting. Like I know that they could always do like some crazy stuff in post, even without like all the crazy technology, because like back then it was literally cutting the film and like putting two pieces together at two different times. So it was a lot of like film the same thing twice, but with different like for the face, like having a puppet there 1 minute, but then having like a different thing there that was stretchy the next, and just having it like cut together differently.
So this was the first fully CGI character, is what I was thinking of, as in '85, and it was in Young Sherlock Holmes. So like they've had CG before then, but this is a CGI, fully CGI characters in Young Sherlock. It doesn't necessarily look all that good, but it's still, they did it.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that makes sense because Pixar was founded in the mid '80s, and
Mhm.
like that was literally what they were working on.
Yeah.
It just took them a decade to make stuff that looked decent. And even then, like look at the original Toy Story now, like it doesn't look nearly as good as like their newer movies look.
We have programs. We have learned to animate programs that look better than that.
I mean, it's like what Kingdom Hearts game had Toy Story? Do you remember since you played them?
It was only Kingdom Hearts 3, and I never actually played it.
Oh, did you not ever get to 3?
I never got the 3. I
What a quitter.
No, I can't remember why I stopped, but I it was 3Ds Dream Drop Distance, I think. The one where it's like
that sounds about
Pokemon-esque,
right.
I think. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that was Dream Drop Distance. Yeah.
I was close to getting to 3, but I don't know. I just stopped and started playing other things, got burnt out, I never went back to it.
But in Kingdom Hearts 3, the Toy Story scenes that were supposed to be from Toy Story 1, I believe, look significantly better than like the first 3 Toy Story games because the technology had just gone so far since then.
Yeah.
It's funny. But yeah, I thought Labyrinth was a fun movie. It probably actually worked a lot better as like a tween in the 80s because you wouldn't see some of the special effects and be like, oh well, that aged poorly. Like there's the one scene after she like breaks out of the like the weird like enchantment thing that she was under, when she like falls into the dump place. The scene of her literally like falling through the sky, that she was obviously on like wires or something like that. Just it looks, that was one of the worst looking scenes in the thing because she was moving in a way that she was supposed to be falling, but it was so non-committal that I'm just like, oh, you're not really even. No one gave you good direction at this moment at all.
Yeah, there were scenes like that whole prom scene. I'm calling it the prom scene because I don't really know what else.
Yeah, like the ball or whatever.
That whole ball scene, I just lost interest in. And then the other musical number where it was the puppets that could like remove their heads and body parts and stuff. I lost it on that one. I just was like, I don't. This is, first of all, this is kind of overwhelming, all of the effects and everything that's going on. The background is kind of like breaking my eyes and breaking my, like, it was just full on overload for me that and the music wasn't good, that I lost it and just stopped paying attention during that scene. And it was the same with, it wasn't like overload with the ball scene, but it was just, that scene was just stupid and boring and I didn't need it.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. The first musical number, I think it was the first, the one with Bowie where he just kept throwing the baby. I thought that one was fun, and I thought that the throwing and catching of the baby was like done better than Jennifer Connelly like doing her fake fall through the sky to land in the dump.
Yeah, the baby stuff and during that scene was surprisingly good. I love that Bowie doing all the ball tricks. That wasn't Bowie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, yeah, I had to look it up. Was that, if that was Bowie? And no, it was somebody else standing behind Bowie doing all the ball tricks through his like his cape and stuff. So like there was the one scene where he's got the balls twirling around in the one hand and he's like doing stuff with his other. like they're hiding his one hand and spinning the balls in somebody else's hand that's holding it out. That's why the hand is also a little out of proportion. It was great.
That's actually, yeah, I would have never guessed that. I just kind of assumed that of all people, David Bowie could do that. It just seems like a thing he could do.
And then I loved seeing some parts, because obviously it's an old movie, so like CG and effects aren't all that great. But there are some instances where you can obviously tell that it was a reverse, where they filmed it in reverse, or they filmed it forward and then played it back. And like some of the instances where like the rocks were coming into the scene or whatever, they just released the rocks from the house and then the rocks came to it or something like that. What else? There was another one that was just so obvious that it was a reverse. I can't remember.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure. I didn't really pick up on any of that, but like I wasn't looking for it all that much either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've talked about before. I watch Corridor Crew, which they'll go over CG and effects and different things like that in all movies, old and new. And like that's gotten my brain into thinking like, how did they do this? How did they do that? And I can see how they did this at that point. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. When it comes to old movies, I just assume certain things are going to look janky. So I give it at least a certain amount of like just okay, yeah, like you guys had to do what you had to do. As long as the actors are selling it, it's less noticeable for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's why the falling scene stands out so much, because she just did such a bad job selling it.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you going to do? It's a 38-year-old movie.
Remake Labyrinth.
They can't. Bowie's dead.
Deepfake.
That's no.
I mean, you can.
Unacceptable.
They did it with Leia. They did it with
that was one.
Tarkin.
That was like one small scene.
They did it with Paul Walker. Trying to think.
Yeah, but you can't do it in a whole movie.
They did it with Paul Walker.
When did they do it?
Just like one scene.
Yeah, it's one scene at the end of the movie.
It was like half the movie or something.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was pretty. Wasn't it literally just the ending scene?
Yeah, they only did it for the ending scene on the beach. They never show his face because it is literally his brother just with his back to the camera playing with Mia and their kid. And then the very last scene of him and Dom driving side by side, when they cut to look at him, it's his brother, and they deep faked his face over it or whatever. But no, they cut the movie in a way to make it so that what they had recorded or what they had filmed of him like functioned, but it also meant that like there are parts with him in it that like probably weren't meant to go the way that they went, or like parts that they had to reshoot because he wasn't able to shoot them.
Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scenes that have not Paul Walker as Brian.
Okay, and it's probably a lot of body double stuff, not deep fake stuff. Because
but they still had to change the face.
No, like have you seen Furious 7?
I have. I've seen all of them besides the most recent one.
So the one where they did the whole face thing, it's super fucking obvious that it's not a real face. Like they did not do as good a job as they did on like Rogue One. Because like you know how Rogue One, like Leia and Tarkin had a little bit of that like uncanny valley going on, but like they still looked really good. Paul Walker's face at the end of 7 looked like a hologram over somebody else's face.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was like a hologram of a still image. So like it didn't really move or anything. It was really unsettling. But the rest of the movie, like they do it for all the actors. Everyone has body doubles for certain scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like like I wouldn't be surprised if like there's the one scene where he's on like that like truck as it's like falling off a cliff. And that scene's fast enough. I wouldn't be surprised if they refilmed that with like his stunt double essentially to get like all of the other angles and just had that be all the times where it wasn't his face showing. Because like the person's already there to look kind of like him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Labyrinth. It was fun. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. Like I like Dark Crystal better.
Dark Crystal's great, and that's also another one that I never watched as a kid that I watched later on in life, and it's great. It's these movies, both of them are you have to take them with a grain of salt because A, they're so old, but B, it's not entirely about the story. It's about the puppeteering, and it's about like what they did with the movie.
There's they're campy.
Yeah, they're made to be. They're 80s movies. They're made to be campy.
But yeah, so I haven't seen Dark Crystal in like 20 years. Like I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19 when I saw it. And like, I just thought that movie was more fun, but it's more puppets than Labyrinth. Like Labyrinth, you're following a human like interacting with puppets. And like Dark Crystal is all puppets.
Yeah. Also Egon from Ghostbusters.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, they deepfaked him into it.
Did they?
At the end. It's only one scene. He's a ghost. It's at the not the end of, not the most recent one, the ice one, the one before it. Still with the same cast, but
I haven't seen either of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't realize that. I knew in the one that everyone hated with Kristen Wiig, there's just like a bust of Harold Ramis in one scene.
Yeah. I've never seen that one either.
It's not as bad as people make it out to be, and honestly, like, it's none of the actors' faults. Like, it's kind of just a bad script.
Yeah.
Like, all the actors did the best job they could do, but like Chris Hemsworth, I'll give it to him. Like, Chris Hemsworth, actually really funny. Like, when he's given like a good script with comedy, like the dude's got good like timing for that stuff.
Yeah.
He was fucking terrible in that movie. Just god fucking awful. And like the four women that were the Ghostbusters are all like they're super funny. And like none of them were all that funny in this movie because the script was just bad.
Yeah.
But like they did the best they could. But anything else either you guys have to say about Labyrinth?
Not really. I just Drew, you might like this. I don't know how much you looked into it. Apparently Terry Jones, who's from Monty Python, wrote the first draft of the script for Labyrinth, which I know you like. I know you at least like the Holy Grail. I don't know if you like Monty Python in general.
Monty Python is one of the funniest things that's ever across the board. All their shit is pretty hilarious.
But I didn't know that until I just saw it on the wiki now. But yeah, it's a good movie. If you've never seen it before, definitely check it out. If your kids will enjoy it, I think even nowadays kids will enjoy it. It's got good enough CG, and it looks good enough. It sounds good enough, and it's kind of colorful enough to where it should work. But
I feel like there's definitely like an age in the middle somewhere though where it might be a little too scary.
I think you're right. I think if you're under a certain age, you'll like it just because it's got fun characters. If you're over a certain age, you'll like it because it's got fun characters. But yeah, if you're somewhere in that middle, like 8 to 12 range, maybe it'll be like when you start to understand how scary how movies can be and story, maybe it might be a little scary.
Yeah, that's around what I was thinking. Like somewhere between, I was thinking like between like 6 and 9, like where like you're still a little more impressionable, and like it's not that it's a scary movie, but like some of the creatures and stuff and some of the environments are just kind of like they're creepy looking.
Yeah,
but like oftentimes in like they end up being like goofy or funny or endearing in some way. But yeah, so I guess then, Rich, I believe it would be your pick for what's next.
Yeah, I can pick if Drew doesn't have one. I'm juggling around five different movies. One of them I've seen recently, so I don't really want to do that. So it's really 4. The one I really want to do is a rental only from Amazon Prime.
In fairness, the one I really want to do is only available to watch via the Internet Archive.
That's hilarious.
What do you want to do, Drew?
I mean, dead serious for my pick, I kind of want all 3 of us to watch it together. That would be a little more difficult. And like I said, it's only on Internet Archive. I kind of want to pick fucking The Room.
Wow, that is only available to watch on the Internet Archive?
It's from what I could find. Just watch Lies when you like I think it says it's on like AMC Plus, but that's the 2017 The Room, the like horror movie.
Oh, hey, the DVD only $12.
I mean, I have a friend who owns a copy.
Oh, do you really?
Oh yeah, she fucking 2019 is the other one, not 17. But yeah, my one friend absolutely fucking loves The Room. Like she's gone to a live screening of it.
Oh wow.
That fucking what's his name? Tommy Wiseau was at.
I didn't realize there was another The Room.
Yeah, like
I wonder how
actual
many
real movie.
Well, 'cause, like I know there's Room, which was the Brie Larson movie from before she was Captain Marvel, where like she gets like abducted as like a pregnant teen or something like that, and then like gives birth and like raises her son up to like a certain age, locked in this room. I think it won like an Oscar for something. But I wonder how many people have like gone in, rented the room on Amazon, only to find out it wasn't the room that they thought it was.
Right.
Because like that's bound to have happened.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But is it just like a YouTube video on the Internet Archive?
Yeah, basically. You just like Internet Archive has like
I've never
a
watched
built-in
anything
video
off of it.
player. Like, yeah, you just hit play and it goes. I don't know if it works on like smart TV or not.
Probably not. I'm trying to look it up now. But Rich, what was your pick?
So the one I really want to do, and you guys can say no if you don't want to. It's a $6 rental from Amazon Prime, and it's Flash Gordon.
For $6?
$6. Which even for me who doesn't care about renting movies, I feel like that is potentially kind of a steep price. But if you guys are okay with that, we could do Flash Gordon. Otherwise, I'd have 3 other movies that I am trying to figure out because, like I said, I've watched The Princess Bride, so I'm not going to say The Princess Bride.
Yeah, I gotta say $6 for Flash Gordon is a little steep.
Yeah, if it were free, look, Apple TV, it's $14.99.
Is that a rental or a purchase?
It's probably only purchase. So yeah, it's oh wait, no, HD, it's $2.99 rental on Prime. Google was saying it was $6 or it was almost $6.
Oh, is it on like sale or something maybe?
I don't know, but right now it's rentable for $2.99. Buying the movie is $7.99, but it's standard definition, not high def, which won't really make a difference.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. But what were the other 2 choices?
So the other 3 choices.
3 choices.
They are horror movies, kind of, sort of. One of them I wouldn't necessarily call a horror movie. One is horror comedy. The other 2 are horror sci-fi.
Okay, just say the names.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, The Toxic Avenger,
man.
Toxic Avenger, or Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Is the Toxic Avenger available somewhere?
On Peacock, apparently.
Oh, it's also available with ads on Amazon via Freevee. I would watch the Toxic Avenger. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've never seen the original.
I've only ever seen remember the cartoon?
No.
I vaguely remember the cartoon.
I've seen the cartoon, and I think I actually had some of the toys from the cartoon, but I've never seen the movies. Similar to Swamp Thing. I don't know that I've ever seen the Swamp Thing movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember the cartoon, and I definitely had toys from the cartoon. I saw the show from a few years ago, back when DC was trying to do their streaming platform.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they're also remaking Toxic Avenger.
If
they haven't
that's
already.
right.
There's supposed to be a remake of it soon.
I also,
2023, so it should be out already, I guess.
I also remember the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes cartoon. Like, what was with the 80s and stuff like that, and making fucking horror movies and hyper-violent movies into cartoons for children?
You're taking a campy thing of Killer Tomatoes. It's so easy just to turn that into a cartoon and make it silly.
Dude, there was a Rambo and RoboCop cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, both of those movies are just about guys that just kill without any hesitation.
Yeah.
Like, RoboCop's, like, catchphrase is, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus. But yeah, I would absolutely watch Killer Tomatoes. Or not, I'm sorry, not Killer Tomatoes, Toxic Avenger. I just had Killer Tomatoes up on my screen.
All right, so the remake of Toxic Avenger was at the Fantastic Fest Film Festival in September last year, but they haven't, like, officially released it, I guess.
But we're talking about the original, right? From
we're
80s?
talking about the original. Yeah, we're talking about 84. The 1984.
So I guess our next 2 are picked then. Like, we'll do The Room, and Rich, do you want to go with the Toxic Avenger?
Yeah. I mean, you let me know which one we're going to do first, so.
I'll flip a coin. We'll find out.
I don't have a coin.
No, I'm going to flip a guitar pick, because that's what was in front of me.
That's not a
Close
coin.
enough.
It's close enough. You know what? I just flipped it without us deciding what was what. So
That's what I had a feeling.
So I guess heads will be The Room, tails will be Toxic Avenger.
Sure.
Heads. So what did I say?
You said
Room.
Toxic Avenger.
Okay. I'm glad somebody paid attention to what I was saying. Oh, man. All right. So in 2 weeks, we'll do Toxic Adventure. In 4 weeks, we will do
No,
The Room.
it was The Room was heads.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Okay.
So next week, in 2 weeks, we'll talk about The Room, and then 2 weeks after that, we'll talk about Toxic Adventure.
All right. Man, definitely was not paying attention to what I was saying.
Boy.
Oh,
boy.
Look, man, it's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. Like,
It's been a long year.
Like, we had a graduation party and then a concert on Saturday, a concert on Sunday. We went to DC yesterday, and then I had to be up at 5 o'clock this morning to drive to a client. I'm fucking beat.
You wanted to record today.
I know. Well, I might not be able to tomorrow is the problem, because work can suck. But it is what it is. So I caught up on the Boruto manga, and I don't know what the fuck that even is anymore.
I don't think even Shonen knows what the fuck it is.
So they did one of they did the rare like time skip where they also just ended the first series and started a new one. Because like if you look back at like Dragon Ball or like the original Naruto, where the anime rebranded itself, the mangas never did. Like the actual Japanese Dragon Ball was Dragon Ball all the way through the end of Z.
Yeah.
It never the manga never got given the Z title until it was brought over to America because it was published first. And then same thing Naruto's just 700 chapters. There's no break where it becomes Shippuden. But for Boruto, for whatever reason, they got to a point, they ended it, and then they took like a 3-year time jump or something like that and aged everybody up a little bit. And I read the first chapter of it when it came out last summer. It came out like August last year. And I'm just like, okay, sure. Like, this seems fine. And then just this past week, I caught up on, I guess, the other 11, 10 chapters that are available, because it releases monthly. And, like, I don't know that Kishimoto knows what the fuck he wants to do with this story anymore. In 3... So, like, Naruto went away and trained for, like, 3 years, and, like, he came back okay.
Yeah.
Like, he still wasn't very good at much. He was better at hand-to-hand, but, like, that was about it. Boruto goes and trains for 3 years. The motherfucker comes back having mastered the teleportation thing that the fourth Hokage does. And also, even though everyone thinks he's a villain now, he was still able to like make a contract with the Toads, and like literally has the Toads acting as his like spies and as his points to teleport to. So he can just like send the Toads someplace. They give him like a code word, and he can teleport to them. It's super fucking weird. But then on top of that, the whole series has been about like the whatchamacallit, the alien, the Odasukis or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
It's been about them coming back and like doing shit, and Boruto getting like implanted with one of their like cells so that one of them would basically be able to take over his body if it like had enough time to gestate.
Yeah.
And then they introduced another character that was also literally he was being groomed to be the new vessel for one of those creatures. And they thought they kind of erased them, but then didn't. And this other kid decided that him and Boruto both have to die. So he trapped Naruto in like a phantom zone situation, and then had this other character do like a mind wipe on everybody. So everybody in the world thinks that this kid is the real Hokage's son, and Boruto killed him. And it's so fucking weird. But they have like the 10 Tails again, like a new 10 Tails. And this one, they were trying to get it to become a tree, like they did in Naruto. But this tree just, they pulled a Dragon Ball GT, and instead of it becoming one big tree and like making the fruit and stuff like that, it just split into like a bunch of sentient fucking weird like Otosuki creature things. And each one has some sort of drive to go devour a specific person. So like one of them really wants to devour Naruto, and another one really wants to devour Sasuke.
Okay.
And it's just, the whole thing reminds me of the Black Star Dragon, or not the Black Star Dragon, the evil dragons in Dragon Ball GT. Like when the Dragon Balls like cracked open and all the evil leaked out of them from all the selfish wishes made over all the years. And then Goku and Vegeta had to go beat all of them up until they were they were back into the Dragon Balls, and then Goku had to go die and bring the Dragon Balls with him to the afterlife or something weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Oh yeah, dude. No,
I never watched
GT is
GT.
not good. Like GT has some great stuff and some really stupid stuff. Yeah. So the first arc of GT is Goku being wished back into being a child. And then like a teenage Pan and an adult Trunks traveling the cosmos to find the Black Star Dragon Balls, which were these special Dragon Balls that were hidden on Kami's lookout that no one had ever heard about before now, that Pilaf's crew used. They were there to make a wish for themselves, and then Pilaf accidentally wished Goku was just a little kid again, even though little kid Goku still beat them every fucking time. And those Dragon Balls scatter into space, not just on the planet. And if they didn't collect them all in enough time, they would like destroy the universe or something stupid. That leads into the baby arc where like it's a creature that was on the planet Vegeta before the Saiyans took it over or something. And that's where Goku became Super Saiyan 4. And then they used the Dragon Balls one more time after that arc to like wish everything back, because it was another one of those the Earth got destroyed moments. And then the Dragon Balls all they basically corrupted, and like a bunch of bad stuff happened. There was also like Super 17 where Dr. Gero and another doctor combined their geniuses to make like a hell version of Android 17 and send it back to the living world, and it then absorbed regular 17 and became that weird like zombie looking 17 with the really long hair and like the really thick eyebrow. And then I think it was 7 dragons, and then there was the Omega one that was all of the dragons fused together, and it was Goku and Vegeta versus them. And then Bulma created a device to make Vegeta a Super Saiyan 4, and then they did fusion, and then they still lost, and then Goku pulled something out of his ass and won, but then also died and took the Dragon Balls and grew wings and flew away. He didn't actually grow wings, but he became an adult again and like flew away and popped back up at the end when his great-great-grandson was fighting Vegeta's great-great-grandson.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way that family's going forever.
Yeah.
Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr.
Yes.
It's so dumb. But yeah, like...
Grand Goku Jr.
I mean, pretty much.
Great.
But yeah, so Boruto, kind of similar thing with the just... Yeah, like, this tree's just split into a bunch of sentient creatures, and they're super strong, and they can kind of home in on the people that they want to devour. So the one that wanted to devour Naruto came looking for him, but ended up finding their daughter instead, because he was homing in on the Nine Tails. And apparently, even though Kurama died, Kurama reincarnated inside of Naruto's daughter.
Yeah. I was reading about that. Like well, no, I mean, yes and no. Like the way Kurama died is he used up all his chakra, but like it's still eventually they do come back, and I guess so. It came back in his.
Well, he literally he explains it, and it seems like while he is the Nine Tails, he is not necessarily the same Kurama.
Yeah,
but like he's like little puppy Kurama, so he's not like the big scary monstrous one. But he literally says he's like, yeah, the Kurama that was in your dad, like, essentially died, but when we tailed Beast die, like, we just eventually come back. We don't know when or how, but I didn't expect to come back inside of a person, let alone it be like the child of my former self's previous host. It's like, yeah. But you seem even more. He basically said that she was more adapted to using him than Naruto was. So, like, she was just immediately able to do, like, a bunch of, like, weird stuff. Like, her ankle got, like, broken in a real bad way, and it just healed immediately. Instead of, like, getting, like, the weird little glowy thing that Naruto does, her hair just got really long and looked kind of like the Nine Tails. And she was kind of using the hair as a weapon. It was weird. And then, like, Boruto can fly. Like, for no good fucking reason. He literally just flies in and picks her up and flies away. Like, kind of like Neo in the second Matrix movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck they're trying to do with this story, and it's just it's so weird.
They don't know either. I don't know why they did it. Like
the anime was never good because the anime didn't. The studio that makes the anime, like, they've always done like mostly good animation, but they've never been good at telling a story that wasn't canon. Like, they're just, I don't know whether they're not very creative over there, or if whoever is creative just has bad ideas. But like all the Naruto filler, except for maybe like one or two of the arcs, is just straight up garbage. And a lot of it was like, yeah, we're gonna do this arc where Naruto's like 11 again, and he has to fight a robot of himself in the middle of the fucking war. So like the Boruto anime started before there was really any manga, and it was like 50 episodes of them not even being ninjas yet. They were still in the academy. It was really fucking bad. And then once it got up to the point of the movie that introduced the characters, it got like better. It was never perfect, but like the anime just it kept going off on like its weird little tangents and making the original characters just look worse and worse and worse in a way that like up until the very end you had like Naruto and Sasuke were overpowered, but like everybody else was still like kind of on par with like whoever had taught them for the most part. Like none of them were really like going above and beyond what like their teachers could do. In this, it's just like, oh yeah, like all these kids are better than these like 30-year-olds that have literally been fighting since they were 11 in like constant war. And it's like these kids just play video games, but they can do all the cool shit they want. And now it's just like, I don't know what they're trying to do. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
And like not always in a good way. Some of it was cool. Like some of the fights and the way that they were like the way that Boruto was able to like fight some of the characters was actually kind of neat. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like that's stuff that we haven't seen before. And he was trained by Sasuke for at least a portion of the 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then it appears like he may have been trained by the clone of Jiraiya after that. Mm-hmm. Because that's also a thing. But yeah, like it's going to some weird fucking places.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't watch it
or read it. Well, they at least have not started the anime up again. So the anime and manga, but like the originals of each both ended last year, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And it was like a few months, and then the Two Blue Vortexes sequel manga came out. I don't believe they have started or even announced the sequel anime yet. So hopefully that means that if they're going to do it, they're going to give it like a bigger berth so that the manga has like a legitimate head start, because it is monthly. Like the chapters are long each month, but like generally most anime that are paced well, you're adapting like 2 of those chapters at least per episode. So like you're going to run out of those real quick if you start it too early. Mm-hmm. But like some of those fights will probably be pretty cool animated if they get to them.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dragon Ball. Like all the stuff that Dragon Ball Super did after the anime ended, like really fucking cool. But like not enough has happened for it to really be like a legitimate like series. It would be like 30 episodes and they'd be like, cool, we ran out of shit.
I don't know, man. Anime, I've only been really watching My Hero, and I'm just getting so disappointed in anime fight scenes anymore.
Some studios just don't have it.
Well, it's not that like they're bad. My issue is they're split. A fight will go on for 4 episodes. And like half of those episodes, or parts of those episodes, or a majority of those episodes will be like a punch or 2 will be thrown, and then backstory. And then 3 more punches, and then more backstory.
Yeah, and My Hero, they're trying to stretch it out way too much. Like that, I don't know if you saw, they announced the manga ends in August. There are 5 chapters left.
I just saw that. Yeah.
At most, that should be maybe 1 more season.
Yeah.
Like at most. They could honestly probably wrap it up in a movie, like 1 more season and then like a movie finale. But they won't. I haven't started the new season yet, but if they're stretching it out like that, it's probably at least going to be 2 or 3 more seasons. And that's no fucking good.
So this episode, they just dealt with the fight between Dabi and his brother. What's his name? Todoroki. Yeah, they just finished off that fight. And like half the episode was the backstory about Dabi becoming Dabi. And it wasn't all that interesting, and like the fight was cool between that, but the fight was only, let's say, 4 minutes out of the entire thing, and the fight didn't really do much because it was just Todoroki charging up his power.
Yeah, I remember in the manga that fight not being bad. Like the flashbacks worked because like they were much like all of the fights in that section, they were jumping around a lot. And like you had a lot of stuff that actually happened in that section, so like it mostly worked kind of having it slow down here and there for like some of the flashbacks. Yeah. But it also wasn't 20-minute episodes. It was 15 to 20 pages. Mm-hmm. And like, frankly, those pages go very quickly.
Yeah.
But they're making like what is one chapter last for 20 minutes. And like, that's bad pacing. Like that makes it not fun to watch.
Yeah.
But the series is popular, so they're trying to drag it out so that they can make it for longer. And it's like, no, guys, just let it end and move on to the next thing.
That's what I'm going to be so frustrated. If we're still in the middle of this war that lasts a day or two at the end of the season, I'm going to be so mad.
They have to be, because they're not going to be able to wrap up everything in the season they have. That's why, realistically, it should be one more season.
Which I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. Midoriya is going to get to friggin' Decay dude. I'm blanking out on names. Midoriya is going to get to where he's supposed to be fighting, and that's going to be the end of the season. We're going to get no Midoriya all season. That's what's going to happen.
So maybe. So I feel like what the show's probably doing is this season it's going to be most of the like kind of the side fights. So you had the Dabi fight. Have you had the Ochako fight yet?
No.
So like I bet her fight will happen. And then there's like another fight between the lizard dude that's a villain and a couple other people, and then and then they'll probably have the parts where like some of the more prominent like 1A characters get involved with fighting the real One for All.
Yeah, so next episode should be Endeavor and Hawks and whoever else is with them versus One for All.
Okay, yeah, so they'll probably have all that, and then yeah, like Midoriya, did he get like teleported away?
Yeah, he got kidnapped by Miko Toga at the very beginning of the fight, and he's flying to get to the fight with what's his name? And it's I know it's gonna be just him. It's gonna be him flying to get to that fight. It's gonna be him flying to get to that fight all season.
Yeah, so I mean, you're probably right. They might give you a little bit of that because of the way that fight plays out, but you're probably going to have some Bakugo fight. And then next season, assuming that they try to do it in one more season, like they fucking should. Next season will definitely be the big fights against like Shigaraki and One for All. Like those two things will be wrapped up in all of the kind of different pieces, because like both of those fights it's like a boss fight in like a video game. They both go through a bunch of weird phases where like different people tag in for different sections of them.
Yeah.
And then like you have the big Avengers moment near the end of them, which was actually like that was actually a cool moment. Like it built up to it and like it actually paid off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I could unfortunately see them trying to stretch it into like 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
Like next season have it be the beginnings of those 2 fights and then not have them wrap up until the season after, and then have the actual the wrap up at like 2 or 3 episodes for like, I guess if there's 5 chapters left, it would be 6 or 7 chapters total would be like the aftermath of everything. And I could see that being maybe 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
it makes it it makes me enjoy watching the season front to back, like when it all comes out before the next season comes out, because like you do miss a lot because of the way it's pacing. But I need to do that with Bleach before the next 1,000-Year Blood War season comes out, because I
don't even know that they've announced it.
They did bad pacing with that one as well. Like the second season sucked, in my opinion. The second season of 1,000-Year Blood War sucked.
I mean it was pretty much like the manga. Like that manga is paced really poorly at the end. And I was hoping that they would pace it better, but they haven't. But yeah, I mean, like the big shonen stuff, it's just that they've kind of, it's not that they're phoning it in, but they're definitely stretching things out to make them last longer, because a lot of these series aren't going for decades, like One Piece.
Yeah.
Or even like the original Naruto. Like both of those went on for more than 10 years each. Like One Piece just hit 20 a couple years ago. The anime hit 20, I think, 4 years ago. Fuck. 25th anniversary is this year. Jesus. But yeah, it's they want the money.
Yeah. It should, I believe 1,000-Year Blood War Part 3 should be this year.
Yeah, but
they debuted a trailer for it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. back in March.
Because I know that the first part was October 2022, and that ran to like January 2023. The second part was like July to September of last year, and then I just haven't heard anything about it since then.
Yeah. So yeah, back in actually December 16th, 2023, they dropped the Jump Fest trailer for Part 3, The Conflict, and this is on Viz Media's YouTube. And so The Conflict, which is Part 3, awaits us in 2024. So should be out this year.
I mean, that's something at least.
Yeah.
Part 2, yeah, that was July to September. Okay, yeah, they just don't have any date from the look of it yet. That's kind of a bummer. Like, I would like to just know when it was coming, just to... Cause we never finished the second one. I think we have like 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, just because, like you said, it wasn't paced great. But how was the pacing on the Wolverine?
Pacing on the Wolverine was, it was. The Wolverine is such a weird movie because it's in this weird zone of it still takes place after X-Men: The Last Stand, but it's still questionable whether or not not Days of Future Past, but questionable whether or not First Class is part of the same universe. And it's funny. Wolverine, the whole story, it starts off as Wolverine leaves the X-Men, leaves Xavier Mansion and the school because he doesn't want to hurt anybody anymore. And the movie starts with him hurting people because they poisoned a bear and didn't kill the bear after poisoning it. They just left it to die because it ended up killing the rest of the a person went camping with a bunch of other friends and went hunting. They shot the bear with a poisoned arrow. The bear killed most of the people with him except for this one guy who escaped. Wolverine finds the poison-tipped arrow, kills the bear because the bear was suffering, finds the guy, and stabs the guy with the poison-tipped arrow. And then the whole movie, he's like, I don't want to hurt people anymore, but continues to flat out murder people. I mean, throughout the entire movie. I know, it's so funny because, and yes, I'm comparing it to X-Men 97, but X-Men 97, when they did this story, like, he goes off to Japan to re-find himself, and, like, he finds inner peace, but then ends up having to help, and learns that he can have inner peace, but also be the Wolverine. Whereas this, he just, that part was just, like, funny and silly to me, like, a little inconsistent. But overall, the rest of the movie was solid. It had some slow bits to it. The whole idea that, like, he lost his powers throughout the movie was interesting. But it ended up being just like, oh, he had a robot squid inside him or something keeping him from healing. It was just a very interesting part. The story behind Silver Samurai and what the Silver Samurai is and how it comes into play in this iteration was cool. Like, overall, this movie was definitely better than the worst. It's not as good as the best. This is definitely a middle of the line movie, in my opinion. The pacing was off a little bit, and they did try to get a little bit of the jokiness and silliness, like, at some points, but it didn't really stick. Like, at one point, they go to a love hotel, and, like, she tries to, like, let him know, like, this is a love hotel. This is not, like, this isn't a place just people go to rest. It's a place where people go to fuck. And he's just like, I don't care. Get a room. And, like, it like, that was meant to be a little comedic, and it just didn't fit. He did start to find peace, but then it lost it. And it's just, I don't know. It was inconsistent. And even, like, the storyline with so Wolverine falls in love with, I can't remember her name, but she was in love with somebody else who they were going to get married, but then they didn't get married because she was going to marry somebody else who was in politics to help her grandfather's organization. And the guy who she originally was in love with was, like, part of this Black Ops part of the organization that the grandfather owns. It was just weird, and this guy his motivation made no sense. I was like, what are you doing, guy? You changed teams like 6 times, and it makes no sense to me.
I mean, sometimes you just got to do that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was weird. It wasn't as bad as like The Last Stand and X-Men United. It wasn't as bad as those. It was a more enjoyable movie. I would put this like above the bottom three at the moment, which the bottom three would be Wolverine, Origins Wolverine, United and Last Stand, or Last Stand and then United. But it doesn't hold a candle to the other two. It's still third place. I mean, out of 6, it's third place, but it just kind of shows how low the bar is for the other 3 and how good the first 2 might not actually be after watching these.
Wait, so is your ranking X-Men then First Class, then the Wolverine for the top 3?
Yeah, so far. X-Men, First Class, Wolverine,
and then Last Stand, X2, and Origins?
This is a tough one. Probably Last Stand, Origins, and then United.
Damn.
I don't like United. I think United is not a good film. It's just such a set-up film, and that's just boring. That's absolutely boring. Like I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it.
I mean, everyone's entitled to their wrong opinions.
But yeah, it was good. And then I'm just excited to watch Days of Future Past because that's where the most inconsistencies are going to be. Because Wolverine somehow has metal claws in the future of Days of Future Past when he loses his metal claws in X-Men in the Wolverine.
Oh right, yeah, because they get cut off.
Yeah, so
like, what are you talking about?
Silver Samurai overheats his adamantium sword and chops off Wolverine's claws so that he could take the bone marrow from Wolverine and ingest it into himself and get his healing factor and become a child. Pretty much become a.
So you know what the answer is? Magneto.
Yeah, so, Magneto stretches the adamantium over, but then he doesn't have adamantium on other parts of his body.
Well, or they got more adamantium and coated it. Like there are options. Like in the comics, Magneto has literally ripped the adamantium off of his entire skeleton.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like this shows that these movies are very inconsistent, and then this is where you second guess or question what universe is what and what's where, and are these connected anymore? They barely mention Trask Industries at the end of the Wolverine. They barely mention it, and Magneto's like, "We have a threat we have to deal with," and Wolverine's like, "Well, why would I work with you?" And then Professor X shows up looking like fucking Professor X when he shouldn't, because Professor X died and he's transferred his brain to somebody else. So he's using his powers not only to stop everybody in the general area, but also make sure people see him as Professor X and not as this person that he changed his body into.
Well, he is the most powerful telepath on Earth.
But somehow also has telepathic powers when his powers were connected to his blood, even though his powers were his brain powers. That still doesn't make sense to me.
No, that's how powers work in the X-Men, though.
But that's not how
transfer between bodies.
So if I had healing powers and somebody transferred my brain over to your body and your brain over to my body,
only psychic powers,
then that doesn't work. That's
not
like
how, that is how that works in the X-Men.
I know we've gone over this several times since I started my X-Men. It still doesn't work. It doesn't. I don't like it. I've never liked that. I've never liked that about these movies. Like he should not have his powers. He transferred his mental his mind, his memories. He transferred his consciousness over. He didn't transfer his blood that gave him those powers. He didn't transfer his genes that gave him his powers. That's how he has his powers, is his genes.
Yeah, but once the powers awaken, it's in his mind. Has nothing to do with his blood at that point.
But it's his genes that let him do this. It's
he never wears jeans. He wears slacks.
It's a genetic mutation. So his genetic mutation that now this guy somehow must have had. I don't know. It's just, I hate it. It drives me nuts.
You should try reading comic books.
That's why I don't. Especially X-Men comic books.
They're the best.
But yeah, the Wolverine, it was a solid movie. I'm not going to complain about it. It was fine. I'm excited to get into Days of Future Past. To be honest, I'm excited to get into movies that I have not seen, which was only 2 of them, and I'm still 5 weeks away from them. But I'm excited to get into movies I have not seen in this order, in this list of movies.
Yeah, so you just haven't seen the last 2, right?
Correct. The last two, and obviously Deadpool 2, which still is not yet officially out. But
Deadpool 3.
Deadpool 3, yeah. So I got Days of Future Past, and then I have Deadpool, and then Logan, and then Deadpool, and then New Mutants, and then Deadpool. But also, like, Deadpool 1 and 2 are such good movies like, they're such different kind of movies that I'm just excited to watch those.
You forgot Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix.
I did forget Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix.
But I think those are the two you haven't seen, right?
Oh, no,
it's New Mutants.
Dark Phoenix and New Mutants are the two.
Right. I mean, at least like Days of Future Past, like I've seen that one more recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah.
The Logan is good. The Deadpool movies are at least funny.
Yeah.
New Mutants I didn't care for very much, but it was also a very different movie, and you could tell that they struggled with that one a lot, which is why it took them so long to both make and release it.
Yeah.
But like, it had good moments. It's just it was not a cohesive movie and made a lot of stuff weird to try and keep track of.
Yeah.
More so than you're already having trouble with.
Yeah. Well, I've just basically, these are two separate timelines. These are two separate realities. This is how I'm accepting it. And so in Days of Future Past, that's another timeline. Is the future timeline that Wolverine comes back from is a different timeline than the timeline of First Class, which is a different timeline entirely of the original. That's just how I'm explaining it.
And you can do that if that makes your head feel better.
That's how it is. Doesn't make my head feel better. It's just how it is. It has to be.
We'll agree to disagree. But do you want to talk a little bit about Hazbin Hotel?
Yeah. I'm just gonna be a little bit about Hazbin Hotel. Brain has been a little wonky lately, and so when it comes to work, I've needed a lot of visual stimuli when it comes to me trying to continue to do work. Otherwise, I just get bored and tired and exhausted. So, the last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that, I was like, you know what? I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Hazbin Hotel on TikTok. I've had friends tell me about Hazbin Hotel. Let's give it a shot. And so I watched it. It's on Amazon. It's a Prime series, and it is a cartoon musical that takes place in hell. And so in this world, like it follows the whole story of creationism and Catholicism, and except I guess I don't know a lot about religion and Catholicism and the story of creationism and whatnot, but Lucifer meets Lilith, who was the original first woman ever created, and they leave Eden and create a child, which then Lucifer creates Eve, and God creates Eve and Adam, and Lucifer tempts Eve with the apple, which causes humans to have free will, and that causes the creation of hell. Eventually, hell gets overrun, and there's too many souls in hell, to where the angels decide they need to, once a year, go and attack hell and exterminate as many souls as they can that are down in hell. This series takes place just after an extermination, where the daughter of Lucifer and Lilith creates this hotel known as the Hazbin Hotel, which is trying to teach souls down in hell, sinners in hell, how to redeem themselves to get to heaven. And so it's immediately after an execution, or a purge, or whatever they call it, and she gets a meeting with actually Adam and Eve, where she like goes to try to pitch her story, and he's like, no, he becomes a complete dick, and it's a cool like change of pace where it's like, oh, you think everybody down in hell are dicks? Well, no, the angels are also fucking assholes, and just everyone sucks. And so it's just every episode just takes place primarily in hell, where they find out at the end of the first episode, or midway through the first episode, that the next purge is going to be, instead of once a year, in 6 months, and so they have to prepare for that. And so Charlie, who is Lucifer and Lilith's daughter, tries to get the Hazbin Hotel to try to teach people to better themselves to be able to go to heaven, to try to prove to heaven that this is a thing that can happen, and maybe we shouldn't do the purge anymore. And yeah, just antics happen from there. It's got some really great music in it. Really great, really catchy songs. Some good stories and lessons to be learned and whatnot throughout it. Some really cool characters, really good voice acting. One of the characters, I can't remember his name. Let me pull up the cast list for Hazbin Hotel. Is at the is the guy from the second to last and last season of Keith David. He plays Husk. Keith David was in Community. He took over when
Chevy Chase left. Yeah.
Not well, Chevy Chase and what's his name?
Troy.
Troy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he took over as both the the token black dude and the old dude in that series. Also, Stephanie Beatrice plays Vaggie, who Stephanie Beatrice is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The rest of them, I don't really know if they're like very notable.
Adam is the guy who played Beetlejuice on Broadway. I'm blanking on his name.
Is that really was Adam, right?
Alex Albrecht or something like that?
Alex Brightman.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, the Adam.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't 100%. I thought it sounded like him. I just wasn't 100% sure if that was actually him or not.
But we'll say I think it's funny that like your like go-to for Keith David was Community, like,
and not like a million video games that he's done.
I recognized his face more so than anything else when I looked up. I heard his voice. I was like, oh wait, I know that guy. He's got a super distinct voice. Yeah, he's got that voice. You know that voice. I mean, and like Stephanie Beatrice, I barely recognized that was her.
Because her actual speaking voice is so different from the voice she had on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, they're so different from Rosa. But yeah, it's a really fun, cool series. It's got some great music and songs to it. I have Loser stuck in my head constantly. I kind of like, I don't know, I connected with that song a lot too. And it's just got some really cool characters too. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm excited for another season. I believe they have at least another season lined up. But it was good, and you should definitely check it out if you like Hazbin Hotel. If you like musicals, if you like cartoons, it is not a kid-friendly cartoon.
No.
One of the main characters, Angel Dust, is a porn star.
Is also named after fucking drugs.
Yes, but this is not a kid show. Not like I was talking to my brother about it. I was like, oh yeah, I watched Hazbin Hotel. He's like, well, I told him about it. He's like, oh yeah, I've heard about it. I'm like, it's good. Not for kids. Don't let your kids watch it. Like, just no. Like there's a whole entire episode of just Angel Dust doing porn stuff. Basically, that's where the song "Loser" comes from. One of the lines of a later song, the line for the song is, "What are we even talking about? Or why are we even talking about this crack whore who fucked up already?" That is a literal line from a song. It's like, no, you don't want your kids watching this. It's a great song. That is such a good song. I don't know the name of it, but like just the soundtrack alone is just so good that I think you guys would have a good time with it.
Well, Drew, it sounds like you've watched it.
I watched a little bit of it with Sarah and our one friend last week. Actually, Sarah's watched it like 4 or 5 times at least, probably at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But you liked what you saw of it?
Yeah, it was very funny.
Which I feel like that's an endorsement because you don't often like shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's in that like dark humor, over the top, and then like Richie said, the songs are good.
Yeah, I actually hadn't heard anything about the music in it, so like I'd heard that it was a good show and that it was funny, but I hadn't really seen anyone mention the music.
Richie, what's the name of the small character that they wind up giving the knife at the end?
It's Nifty.
Nifty, yeah. Nifty's the best from the little bit I saw.
Nifty's great. They run the hotel and they have so Husk, who was played by Keith David. He is the bartender. You have Alistor, who is like pretty much built the hotel. The whole all of hell is broken down into like there's lords, and then there's just the sinners, and then there's the in between. And so Alistor is one of the lords of hell, and has the power to just like build this hotel out of just magic. And then they have Nifty, who is basically their maid, and she is just crazy. She's just like they're doing at one point they're doing a trust fall exercise, and like they have to go up onto the podium, say something that they're vulnerable about, and then fall. And I can't remember what she says she's vulnerable about, but it's like, I love killing people or something like that. And when she does that, everyone steps aside when she goes to fall. She hits the ground and she's like, I love killing people. Jumps, hits the ground, pain, and then runs back around and does it again. It's just she's such a fun character. Alistair's really cool too. I like what they did because he's the radio demon. So this is like modern day where it's like TV and stuff are big. But so he's starting to lose his power because no one really listens to the radio. But his voice has that old timey radio, filter on it, I guess.
Yeah,
and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's a Prime series.
Yeah, I might try and remember to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, it's half-hour episodes. It's very, very easy to watch. Yeah, it's definitely good. I liked it.
I do especially in the evening. I'd rather put on half-hour comedy stuff than anything too long and serious. Because I don't know. After working all day, you kind of do just want to zone out.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else either of you guys want to talk about?
No.
No, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, in that case, that will probably be it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I was trying to get the time to mark the time that I was talking.
Alex Brightman did multiple voices in Hazbin Hotel. He was Adam. He was Serpentis and Vox Tech announcer, which I don't know who that is, but Serpentis is another major character in it. He's the snake guy.
Cool. I didn't catch that was Alex Brightman. He sounded like Adam. I was like, oh shit, that's Alex Brightman.
Yeah. Immediately, you know that's him. Immediately. Yeah, it's a good series.
Cool. All right. Well, with that said, we will be wrapping up. If you'd like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there, though, with your dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, fun places like that. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on YouTube. We're youtube.com/onequestvideo. And we are on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/one. No, I did that already. Fuck. Email. You can email us at social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/B_1. We're on video games streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Been doing a lot of Mario Odyssey. We have to get 210 more Power Moons. So we could potentially get it done next or this Sunday, depending on timing and everything. I have activated a new bit redemption when I play that, to where you can force me to go after some of the harder moons, because I didn't realize there's only about 44 hard moons in the game. I thought there were more. So
I actually thought there were more too.
Yeah, so I didn't realize this till the other day. I had to look it up. But the dark side of the moon is where the hard moons are. The darker side of the moon, there's only one power moon, or 3 power moons. It's a triple that you can get. And it's just a combination of all. It's like the hardest level.
Right.
But there's the dark side of the moon is where it's a lot of the hard stuff is. So yeah, there's only 44 of those. There's 43 on the dark side and 1 on the darker side. And then the rest of them are all just playing through the game. A lot of the moons are achievement based, get all the coins, get all this, get all that, do 5,000 jumps, whatever, blah blah blah, as while playing through the game over at the Mushroom Kingdom. But I've been making my way through each world one by one until I reach all the moons that I need to get. And we have gone from we're at 721, I believe, is what we need, and we're at 511. So
last week, you were around 680 that you needed?
Yeah, we were 6. It was probably 6. It was 680 when we ended two weeks ago or 2 Sundays ago. And then we had somebody come in this past Sunday, do another 40. We had somebody else do 30, which I was like, you know what, 30 is enough, and added one more moon to that. So, but I have a channel or a bit redemption. 250 bits will force me to go after one of the harder moons. That also adds to the total number of moons I have to get. So it's not just you're not just paying me 250 bits to go after one moon. That's going after one specific moon plus 5 more.
Nice.
So like it's like a double feature kind of thing. But yeah, so
and how much is 250 bits? Like $2, $3?
It is $2.50, give or take. That's how much I'm going to get. $2.50. For you, it's probably like $4.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the thing, it roughly equals out for the streamer. What the streamer gets is a 1-to-1 penny ratio. So like 1,000 bits is $10. But it's like for how much you have to pay for like 1,000 bits is, I believe, like $15.
I think it's actually 20.
I'm pulling it up Twitch now to just double check. 1,500 bits is $20. So 500 bits is $7. 100 bits is $1.40. So like it's like you're paying a little bit more. They take about a 40% ish cut from whatever you're paying. Twitch takes a 40% cut. Is really what it is. But like you pay Twitch, right. You pay Twitch $1.40, you pay Twitch $20, you can give me 15. So but that's 1,500 bits, which that's also 80 moons. That's not just 40 moons. That's 80 moons for 1,500 bits right there. So $20 to make me have to get another 80 moons. The math equals out to, I believe it's 6 people sending 1,000 bits or 1 person sending 4,000 bits or some combination in between.
Gets me to
990. That gets me to like 1,002. Like
and that's where you would go play like Super Mario Galaxy for like 20 minutes.
I would play Mario Galaxy for 2 levels because I'm a little upset and disappointed that I'm not going to be able to really do like a Mario Galaxy Star Rush or anything in the future because there's only 120 stars in pretty much the rest of the 3D Mario games.
Yeah, so you'd have to do like a combo of them. Like
they're also, it's a lot harder to get all the moons. I wouldn't say harder, but it takes a lot more time to get all the moons in those games because it's a level based thing. You go in, you select which moon you're going for, and then you go for it. You can't stock up. Like I will, if I'm next time I play, if I go to New Donk City, I'm gonna stock up and get all of the moons that I have available in New Donk City before I leave, which will be like 40 moons, and that'll take 2 hours or something like that. Like you can stock them up, you can get them. Sometimes your moon to minute ratio is a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes your moon to minute ratio,
you can just grab them real quick because they're just in the world.
Yeah, so it takes a lot more to get. I feel like it might take a lot more to get them all in the other versions. But it sucks because I was like, maybe next year I can do Mario Galaxies, but I can't. I could, but it would be like a 1,000 bits for 1 moon for 1 star, and I'm like, that's.
You know what you do because you have the collection, the 3D collection.
Yeah.
You do like a triple challenge sort of thing where maybe like the bits are the number of things you have to get, like a collective term for like all the stars, moons, horseshoes, and blue moons or whatever from the games, and maybe like subscriptions or something like that are you switch a game, or you know what I mean, like some sort of combination where like you're kind of jumping between the different Mario games too to like spice it up.
There has to be a return on game time, and the amount of time it may take for me to get 5 moons in Mario Galaxy or Mario 64, plus the amount of time it might take for me to save the game, switch out to one game to another, and blah blah blah. Like I feel like, as dumb as this might sound, I feel like it's going to take me 2 to 3 times as long to get all of the stars across those 3 games than it'll take me to get, or all of the stars across 1 or 2 of those games than it will for me to get all 999 stars in Mario Galaxy.
I don't know that that's true because, like, Drew, you watched Steal My Sunshine, right?
Yes.
So like that series, they had 4 people kind of like rotating playing Mario Sunshine, and I didn't take them that long, and they were playing once a week for an hour and a half, and they got every single shine in Sunshine.
So I have to raise a question: how knowledgeable are they in the Mario Sunshine to where
one person had played it before, the other 3 had no fucking clue what they were doing.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, had a lot of trouble with the controls early on because it was a 20-year-old game that like controls very different than modern games do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of those challenges can be quite difficult, especially some of the later
they had
challenges in Sunshine.
They had a couple real bullshit like glitches too, like on those like platform zones where you don't have the flood.
Yeah.
Where like they would jump onto one of those spinning blocks, and it's not that they missed the block; they literally fall through the block.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see it on the video of them just landing dead center and just passing right through it.
Yeah,
but I mean, you'd have to think about it for a little while, but I bet you could find like a reasonable way to do other Mario games, and still have it be fun for you.
I'd have to think about it. I have to figure it out, but that's a year from now. We'll figure out what I'm going to be doing a year from now. Maybe something else. Maybe by that time we'll have the full release of 7 Days to Die 1.0, or maybe it'll be 2.0 at that point, and I'll have the story mode, and maybe I'll do something with that. Or maybe I'll just do something with 7 Days to Die. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. But for now, we still got the Moon Rush going on every Sunday. Try to aim between a 12 and 3 o'clock start. This week I didn't start till 4, and I go pretty much until I get 100 moons or 8 o'clock, whichever one comes last.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been consistent. Originally, I wanted to do 150 moons per session. I was like, you know what, 100 moons sounds good. And I've been pretty consistent with getting 100 moons each time I played.
Well, excellent job then.
Thanks.
But with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.